Chris here, looking at a very different style of e-bike, and a very fun one at that. This is the GOGOBEST gf750. Why is it so different? Well, it is the first e-bike that I know of, or at least that I have tested, that has dual motors. They're both 1,000 watts each that they peak at, giving us a combined total, of course, of 2,000 watts. That's a lot of power. So we've got the iconic fat tires on this too, which are 4 inches wide, 20-inch rims, so they soak up a lot of the bumps and things. And because we've got all that power, this particular bike here rockets up climbs like no other e-bike that I've tested out before. It can handle climbs of up to 45 degrees. That is a huge, steep climb that this thing just breezes up no problems because of all that power. Now what's powering it, of course, is a big battery pack. It's right here, it's removable, it's 17.5 amp hours. Now they do say that you should be able to get up to 80 kilometers range out of it. So that's pretty good range too out of a bike like this, especially with 20-inch rims. It does have a bike rack at the rear. We've got some very standard components on it though too. So we've got mechanical 160mm disc brakes, should be hydraulic. We do have a 7-speed Shimano setup. So it is still an e-bike, but the style of it, it looks more like one of those older motorbikes or a moped, right? Especially with this long seat here, which is quite wide enough that you can, and long enough that you can even have a passenger on the back. There are some pegs down there. So it does have a very large screen, front shock, bright LED headlights. I'll be going over it all in this review, and I'll let you know why this bike is such a blast and such a fun bike to ride, the GF750. The GF750 is a long bike, and it is very heavy, around about approximately 34-35 kilos. You don't want to be lifting it anywhere. So what makes this bike so fun are these powerful, very torquey 1,000 watt motors. We've got one in the front hub, which is very unusual. You don't normally see this. The other, of course, in the standard location in the rear. So we have a combined 2,000 watts of power. Now, there are two forms of stands that they do give us on this bike. We've got the horseshoe style one, which does prop it up straight and it supports the weight. The kickstand style that I'm using right now also does support its weight well. But have a look at the clearance we get. Almost nothing with that horseshoe style. So me personally, I would probably remove this, because doing a little bit of off-roading right here up with these rocks and things, quite a few times I've had things that'll strike up against this stand, and you really don't want that. Then our headlight. So it's using a lens, which is the projector, and behind it is a very powerful LED. So powerful that you can make it out in direct sunlight, which is great for safety, and it does light up the path ahead of you without any problems, and it happens to be probably one of the better front LED headlights that I've seen and tested on an e-bike. The GF750 uses steel mudguards, so not plastic ones, and so far they don't tend to rattle around, which is good. You don't want things clattering and making noise as you ride. The bike does come with a bike rack installed that can handle up to 35 kilos of weight, and a rear tail light. Now the tail light has its own little switch. It's actually part of the battery bank here. This pack is really large. 17.5 amp hours. Now they do claim that should give us a range of up to 80 kilometers, but it, of course, is going to vary on your weight, your riding style, and where exactly you're riding. If you've got a lot of climbs, then you certainly will not get that 80 kilometers. The seat, which is just above that, is a very similar looking style seat to that of, say, a old style motorbike, and not so much of a bike really. It does have a USB port just behind a rubber gasket right here if you needed to charge up any of your devices. The battery is locked into place. It is removable too. You can slide the whole battery out to charge it outside of the bike or replace it later on if needed. And it even has its own built-in battery gauge in the pack, so you can check on the battery life if you've got it out of the bike, because of course once you slot that in, you can't actually access that. Now the bike uses a 48 volt system, which is a lot more powerful than the typical 36 volt system you get on other e-bikes. Our charger port is located here, and you simply just need to slide that up. Charge time is quite long because it's a big battery. It is going to take 8 hours to fully charge the 17.5 amp hour battery. The front crank has a chain protector around it, and the pedals These are no name brand pedals. They're okay. They are made out of metal with reflectors, and so far no problems with them. Then our drivetrain, it's very standard here. Shimano Tourney, it's the TZ, so we've got 7 gears here with this cassette. And you'll see right here, we do have some pegs. This is for a passenger, and you just simply press here, and they flick out for the passenger's feet. It does state there was a sticker on this that don't apply a lot of pressure to it, so it's not meant for standing up on. Then there is this little plasticky box here. Feels a little cheap. That's where the controller is inside there. So the controller for both of those motors, that's really the brains of the whole thing. But then we do have the display, which I'll show you now. So the bike's got a fantastic screen, really clear. It's backlit. You can make it out at nighttime, no problems at all. And even direct sunlight now, you can see just how clear it is. It's nice and large. It's called the M5, and I've seen it on a couple of other models and even on a scooter before. Very good screen. So here we do have our controls. So we've got the M to cycle through the different modes here. You can go through the trip, voltage, odometer, time. Up and down arrows are for our pedal assist levels. So pedal assist level number 5 is the maximum, so it's 1 to 5, and there is a 0 setting for no assistance whatsoever. So that will power us up to 25 kilometers per hour. We have our 7-speed Shimano gear selector right here, the accelerator, so this will work just straight away if I push it, if you're in pedal assist level 1 to 5. So you do need to be very careful with it. It can be dangerous. Imagine if I accidentally press it now, the bike will just scoot off and go right off the edge of this cliff right here. So you need to bear that in mind to be very careful around it. So we've got a switch here too for our light on and off, a buzzer which is super loud, probably one of the loudest I have heard. It is deafening, so that's great for safety. And then our grips here are lock grip style, so they are not going anywhere, they're not twisting around. Now, what is this bike like to ride? So we have an upright rider position here. It's like a Harley kind of setup, really. You feel like you're just cruising along. Now, I've got it in pedal assist level 0. That means it's all pedal power. Now, I wouldn't want to be pedaling long distances with this bike because it is rubbing the seat, because it's so wide, on my inner thighs, and that is going to be a bit uncomfortable. And I can see that in long rides, certainly, you're probably going to end up chafing your inner thighs, which won't be good. Now, you can sit right back on the seat, or you can sit up front a little closer, and that way it's not really rubbing on my inner thigh, but it's not a very comfortable position. So the gear changes are good, no problems with them. I'll just go into the 7th gear now. So 7-speed Shimano, and then the pedal assist level. So we do have pedal assist level 1. That will give me a boost. Once you're pedaling up to about 4 kilometers, the speed sensor kicks in, so it doesn't have a torque sensor. Then right up to pedal assist level 5. You can hear the motor now. Very powerful motors. Takes me up to 25 kilometers per hour in a matter of seconds. But we also do have this, the accelerator. So using that now, I'll just demonstrate. Squeaky brakes. It sounds like a bit of a train, really. As soon as you press that, you've got to be careful with it. It is dangerous. You take off, and the front wheel spins. It's got that much torque, and that will get me up to whatever level I have set as the pedal assist level limit. So that's 25 kilometers per hour, and it will not go over that. All right, I've unlocked the speed limit. I won't show you how to do that in this video. That is something you can find online if you search. So I'm on the pedal assist level 5. I've got the accelerator, of course, here, and I'm in an empty car park. I want to stress this fact that I'm only going to test this out just this once in this car park here. When I'm on the public roads, I will set it to the 25 kilometer per hour limit and just leave it at that, because this speed is pretty crazy, and I just want to make sure there's no traffic around. So let's see how fast it can really go. We know it's got a lot of power, a lot of torque, so let's take a look. The acceleration, very good, up to 25 kilometers in a matter of seconds. We're hitting 40 now kilometers per hour. 45, that's really about it. Maybe you can squeeze out a little more there. 45 kilometers per hour out of the 2,000 watts in total, and the dual motors, of course. I'll just do one more test against the wind now. 30 kilometers, 35, 40, all right. So that is it, for the speed test, I'll be setting it back now to the 25 km/h limit that you get it out of the box. All right, so my climb test here, this is approximately 25 degrees, the climb, and this bike can handle up to 45-degree gradients. So really, it's not gonna have any problems, not with dual motors, each of them at 1,000 watts. So I'll just start off, kick off, and I can use that accelerator, but I'll just try pedaling. There we go, the pedal assist has kicked in. Fast drive pedal, the faster it is going, and it is handling this really with no problem. So you can climb up very steep climbs. This is really comfortable. Now if I use the accelerator, see what happens. It's going to get me to 25 km/h, even quicker going up here, so no problems at all. But what happens if I decide to turn off all the pedal assist and then just do it manually? Could you go up these steep climbs? Wow, you're going to have to stand up to power through it, but no, there's no way I want to ride this up any hills without any battery if the battery's empty. And because of the style of bike, I'm going to do a big climb test on this one, so go right up to the top here. And I do love how loud these fat wheels sound when I am cruising up this. So I'm pedaling, I'm using pedal assist level 5, and it's quite comfortable in the 4th gear just to go up this at around about 20 km/h. Now for my braking test, so mechanical disc brakes, 160mm, really should be hydraulic. They squeal. Now I'm up to about 30, full on braking now. Okay, that braking performance is not bad. I think it's aided by the fact we've got really wide 4-inch tires. However, I think hydraulics, especially considering the price this bike sells for, and they're quite squeaky brakes, as you can hear, but they do brake reasonably well for mechanical disc brakes. Now because this bike's got a lot of power, the dual motors, both 1,000 watts each, and the fat 4-inch tires, it should handle a climb like this really well, right? We've got a lot of torque, so that front wheel, slipping quite a bit, but once you get going, you can really roll over this stuff with absolute ease. Not a problem for the GF750 here with the smooth stuff, but up ahead, it is quite rough, so we'll see how I fare with the fat wheels. Bit of noise coming from that front mudguard, but that's about as far as I can go really. Maybe a little more. It's just getting a bit too rough here for 20-inch fat tires. But I am able to do this. This is quite a surprise. Look at this. Going up this. Not bad at all. Plenty of power. And then riding down trails, we've got the front shock, and the fat tires are soaking up some of these bumps, but it is hard going. You definitely don't want to be taking this bike off-road too much, unless it's just like here, nice smooth gravel, then it's all right. Now then, the range on this bike, it can't be that good, right? Because we've got two very hungry, powerful 1,000 watt motors, so 2,000 watts peak. But it is a super large battery. Look at the size of this thing, that big. And it's 17.5 amp hours. So I am losing for every battery bar, which there are 10 of them here, I lose around about 1 bar per 5 to 7 kilometers that I am riding. Now, bear in mind that I'm not the lightest rider either. I am 82 kilos, and I have been doing some serious climbs. I climbed all the way up here too. So that's when it does take quite a toll on the battery. But you are looking around 50 kilometer range, 60 kilometer range. That is short from their 80 kilometer, which is their claim. That's always the way, that's how it is. The same with electric cars. Real world use is quite a bit less, but still I don't think is a bad range considering it's only 20-inch wheels, rim size that we've got on here. Now, those 4-inch wide tires, the fat tires, fantastic. I really do like them. I want to review more fat tire e-bikes because they just soak up so many of the small bumps. I'm running a reasonably high PSI. I could lower it down a little bit more and it would be even softer the ride. Now let's speak a little bit about that ride that I mentioned with my tests, that you are in this nice upright position. You've got a straight back and very comfortable just cruising along. And when you're pedaling, in this position because of how wide the seat is that it's okay for short periods. But I can see already in my rides and tests now over a couple of days that when I'm riding a lot, I'm getting a lot of inner thigh rubbing that is happening from the width of the seat. Now, to help solve that a little bit, you could end up sitting up a bit more further to the front of the bike and then ride that way, and then the seat's a little more narrow there, so it's not really going to chafe and rub up against your inner thighs. But if you sit back, you're going to have more of that problem. Because it's such a huge seat, you can have a passenger on the rear. There are the foot pegs there, which is good. And the overall build quality of the bike is good. I like the finish of the frame. The welds look good. It's a matte paint job. Very bright front headlight, great clear screen. It's a basic 7-speed Shimano setup with the gears, but it seems to work well. Accelerates really quick and fast, and the climbing performance, absolutely amazing. It just blows me away. It's an absolute blast riding this particular e-bike. The brakes then I would rate as a bit of a con. They're okay mechanical disc brakes. You can stop perfectly fine. It's not dangerous or anything like that. I just would like a little bit more braking performance. And I think at this price point, hydraulic disc brakes should have been the way to go. And I probably would have put 180mm discs on instead of 160mm just to up the braking performance. After all, it's a very heavy and powerful e-bike here. So weight-wise, it is about 34 or 36 kilos. Very heavy. You don't want to be lifting it anywhere at all. So those are the cons there really. The brakes, the weight, and it can chafe a little bit depending if you're going to be riding a lot because of the style of seat. Apart from that, what a fun e-bike. I'm just having so much fun reviewing this because it's a joy to ride. Cruises along so nicely, rockets up all of the climbs. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for watching my review here of the GOGOBEST GF750.